Hello and welcome to today's video. My name is Kaylee Nichols and this is the Scrappy Mezzo YouTube channel, and it's all about the singer life, young artist life, all things opera. And so I am glad you're here, and I've got my water and my half-filled coffee cup. I feel like this is on every video, whether you see it or not. So today's video is going to be project ideas that you can do during those dry spells when you're not getting gigs, or like right now during COVID when people aren't really doing much. Right now we have audition season, and so everybody is working on their audition rep. But this is ideas for kind of the things in those next couple months. Okay, you've sent all your stuff in, you've done your auditions, and you're kind of waiting, and you know, you've got your summer stuff, and I have my own personal projects that I'm working on. But I just like to have a lot of things going at once. That's just the kind of person that I am, and I know that I am crazy for that, but this is just some ideas for when you just need some inspiration and you don't really know what to work on next, and this will hopefully just give you some ideas. And I have some things that are non-singing and singing ideas. So I know everybody's in a different place and everybody has different time constraints. So this has a variety of things that you could start on. Obviously, talk with your teachers and your coaches on what to work on. So yeah, here we go. Alright, so the first thing we're going to talk about is ideas that involve singing or learning music. So that seems obvious, right? But there's so many different things that we can work on, so I feel like the possibilities are really endless for a lot of this stuff. But yeah, so the first one is to learn a role. And this is something you should talk with your teacher or coach with. And I've kind of mentioned this to my team, but I've not really talked through it, so I'm gonna mention what I'm thinking about doing, but I might have you guys go through the role learning process with me. But I just need to decide what role I'm going to learn. So just to give you kind of a timeline of where I'm at right now is obviously right now we're all working on audition recordings because it is August 2020 and we have a virtual audition season that is coming up. And so a lot of us are trying to learn how to use technology and make it work the best for us. So that's my direct goal right now, is to really get that stuff down, and you know, make my audition rep and my audition videos the best that they can be. So I'm putting that outside of this video because that's something that everyone's working on right now, and I don't think you need the idea to do that. So I just wanted to make that a disclaimer. And then my next gig is not until April, and I will be at Central City in the summer. So the show that'll be in April, crossing fingers, saying prayers that things will still happen next year in 2021. These are both gigs that I lost during 2020, and thankfully they're copy pasted into next year. And so the gigs that I lost are waiting for me next year, and so I am very grateful for that. And I have that music down. It's not that I'm going to be just, you know, putting them on the back burner. I'm still going to be working through those roles, and still working on that stuff. And so I also wanted to make that a disclaimer because I'm going to be showing you new stuff that I'm working on because I do have a little bit more time, and you know, I have this time to learn music. So anyway, so the three roles that I'm going to be choosing between are composer, and then Sara in Repertoire, and Carmen. I'm waiting on a new score because I think it's the Alcor version, and I contacted a friend who sings Carmen's everywhere. Which score do you use the most? Because I know there's 9 million versions of this show. But I think eventually I'll learn all three of these, but just not all at once because I don't want to do that. I will be working on some of Carmen's arias to begin with because that will be part of the next project that I am going to mention, which is learning your party pieces. And this is a part of being a singer that I don't think is talked about enough. So I am going to be learning Carmen's arias, at least the fun ones. Maybe not the card aria because it's depressing, but those party pieces are the songs that you sing at donor events or outreach concerts or really anything that the company might ask you to do that is, you know, a little bit more upbeat. There's usually some kind of musical theater. It's the hits. They don't want something that's super obscure, and this is something that I learned. Nashville Opera was my first, I guess, mainstream kind of young artist program. Most of my gigs had been local work before, and so I hadn't really done a lot of this kind of stuff yet, and so I didn't have a lot of options, and mezzos don't have a lot of things that, like, you know, people know right away, and so, but Carmen is one of those things, and her arias sit pretty well in my voice, so I'm gonna learn those, and I'm learning French right now, so it's a great win-win for me, personally. But I also have, and I have more of these, I have this giant stack of musical theater books that I got when I was teaching, and I've kept them because I plan on teaching again in the future. I don't know when that will be, but the age group that I was singing, or that I was teaching, is a little younger, and so they just need somebody who is there all the time, and I was just too in and out to make that work. So it just depends. But what I wanted to, so I'm going to basically be going through and looking at more musical theater rep because I just don't have a lot of that. And I just want to try out a bunch of different things, you know? So, all right, so my next project idea is learning a song cycle. So if you are someone who is a younger singer or you just don't have a lot of art song rep to begin with, learning a song cycle is a really great project to start working on, or even refreshing an old song cycle that you really love. So it's up to you, but this is a really great option if you're not quite ready to learn a role, or maybe you are exploring a new Fach. This is a really great option to really see if you want to live in that tessitura. And just, you know, it's great to dive into poetry and collections of poetry and things like that. So even if you're learning, if you're trying to work on a certain language, so like I don't sing a lot of German rep. I have Composer, and I've sung Octavian's aria and Orlovsky's aria, but I don't. Other than that, I just don't really sing a lot in German, and so I am exploring some more like Schubert, Schumann, some of those classics, because I just don't have a lot of that rep under my belt. So that's just something that I am working on in that realm, but that's not a concentration of mine at the moment. All right, so my next thing is to work on repertoire that you've been putting off for whatever reason, whether you just love a certain piece and you've just never really given yourself the time to learn it and sing it, or maybe it's got some really hard coloratura that you know is good for your voice, but you've just not worked on it, or maybe you're afraid of it. So for me, this is just a variety of art songs that I've just really loved, and you know, I'm just kind of singing them to myself, but I really enjoy it. So and then I am also looking at Parto, which is a piece that I tried so hard to sing in grad school, and I was so tired just after the first section because I just wasn't ready to sing it yet. And so I put it down for a couple years, and now it's a great option for me, and I'm just really trying to, out of rep that is outside of my audition rep, opera-wise, that is something like by the end of this year, that's gonna be my package. It'll be my competition package, and we're gonna get it, guys. We're finally going to sing Sesto. So yeah, that's just a project that I'm working on, and I have my notes right here in case you see why, because I don't want to miss anything, and I'm just, you know. So yeah, so that's what I'm working on within this realm. But yeah. Another thing you can work on is whatever that technical thing that's been holding you back. So if you are not great at coloratura, or you know, you've got tongue tension, or just any other kinds of things that you do when you sing, now is a really great time to work on it. And obviously these are things that we should be working on all the time, but there are just some things that honestly take so much more time and energy to work through. An example from me is about 2 or 3 years ago, I was a totally different singer, in that anything that could be muscled or tensed could be and was, and I was just a very muscular singer. And there were days where I just had to lay on the floor. I mean, I had to go all the way back to just laying on the floor and just like totally limp and just phonating without tensing up, because it started there for me. And that just took a lot of time and effort to just get rid of those very basic things. And now is a great time to work through those kinds of things. And it really escalated my singing a lot, and putting that time and effort into doing that. And I know not everybody works that way, but if you have that thing that you've been trying to work through, now is a really good time to intensely work through it, and just get over it and move on to the next technical issue that we all are always working on. So I highly recommend doing that during this time. Alright, so the first non-singing project idea is learning a language. And I've definitely said this before in Things I Regret About College video, is that I wish that I had spent more time on languages in college. But now I am in a time where I have all this time, and I am diving into language learning for the first time, as far as more than translations and more than my repertoire. I'm digging into actually learning how to speak and communicate in the language, and not just memorizing a translation. So now's a really good time to do that, because you don't have to relate it to the opera world. That is something that honestly I have really enjoyed doing during this quarantine time, is digging into that kind of stuff. And it's kind of helped me inch back into my singing things again, because when all of this started, I could not bear to sing. I just couldn't do it. It was too emotional for me, and I didn't want to do anything that reminded me of the world of opera. But I still eventually started to want to work on something, and I was getting antsy, and so I started working on my languages and my piano skills, and I didn't relate those to anything in the world of opera, but it just kind of inched me towards it. So yeah, that is something that I highly recommend doing, especially when you have all this time, and you can make your apartment, all of your podcasts, all of your music, you can switch your phone over, you can make it into whatever language that you're learning, and you can totally immerse yourself that way, and I highly recommend trying it. The next thing is watching all of those shows that you just haven't seen yet. I know for me this list is longer than I expected, because I have watched a lot of shows. And I am also trying to watch more shows that don't have anything to do with my voice part. One of those that I will actually be showing next week is La Boheme. I've never seen La Boheme, and next Friday is my birthday, and I'm taking a couch day, and so I will be I will be watching that video, and I'm just going to make a reaction video to it. So stay tuned for that video next week, but I have a longer list that I am working through, and I basically have it until the end of the year. And then I will make a new list of operas that I still haven't seen, and I will continue that list. If you've got a good 3-hour chunk, that's a great way to use it. Another thing you can do is to watch seminars and master classes online. I know this is one thing that I'm so glad I dove into this summer, because it's so motivating to me to watch somebody else work through something. And usually by the end of a masterclass, I'm like ready to practice, I'm ready to go. You know, if you're just feeling unmotivated, try watching one of those, because even just watching like one person could probably help you get some kind of productivity in there. So I highly recommend that. But yeah, just try watching some of those. Something that I mentioned a little earlier is that you can work on your piano skills. So if you took lessons before, I brought out some of the books that I had when I was a kid and I was taking piano lessons, and I also have some books when I was taking a crash course my senior year and getting ready to go into college. And so I kind of just started playing through those, and even just getting those fundamentals down again was really helpful in playing through some of my arias. And I try to play as much of the accompaniment as I can, but I think I said that word right. Yeah, I really struggled with that the last video, but I'm not going to say that word again because I'm now afraid of it. So it's like Benedict Cumberbatch with the word penguins. If you haven't seen that, go look at it. You can work on your piano skills. It doesn't have to relate to anything in the world of opera, just something that you really like doing. So yeah, that's something you can work on. Another thing that's not really, I don't think it's talked about enough in college is reading opera books and books that were the inspiration for operas. So you can just dive into the story so much deeper if you know what the original story is, even if it's different from the opera. I am trying to get better about this. I'm not much of a reader, and I never really have been, but I really do enjoy listening to audiobooks on Audible. We decided to invest in a subscription to that, and my husband and I share which person gets the credit each month. So we both are able to use it, and I am someone that drives a lot, or I used to drive a lot. And my voice lessons are usually in Cincinnati, and so I have an hour drive there and I have an hour drive back because I live in Dayton. I use that time to listen to audiobooks. I also like listening to audiobooks when I'm just cleaning around the apartment and things like that, and so I highly enjoy that. But yeah, that's something that you can dive into as well. Another thing that you can do that is kind of vague, but you can explore other creative paths or just explore different sides of your creativity. So if you are interested in art or design, you can look at maybe dreaming up costumes or set designs. I know a project that it's not really a project, it's just kind of like a hobby, because I do have some interest in directing, and so I've just been exploring that side of my creativity, and I've honestly really liked it so far. But I've just been going through a show and coming up with the concept, the design, and the story of it, and just moving through an opera as if I were a director. And I've really enjoyed that, because you just kind of look at those roadblocks and you're like, okay, what do I do with the chorus here, and how do I tell people what I have in my mind? And so I'm like working through a document to put all of that down and get it out of my head and onto some kind of document. And I don't really have a goal for this sort of thing, but I've just really been enjoying that side of it, and it's not something that I expected to enjoy so much. So if you have other interests in the world of opera or whatever, even if you're not an opera singer and you are watching this, like, there's so many other things that you can do that are not related to what you are currently doing, specifically. So I highly recommend trying something like that, because it just kind of inspires you in a different way. So if you're wondering what my personal projects are for this, the rest of this year, I decided to just pretend like the year starts. I think I started in July. I'm not counting basically March through June for the most part, but I am just taking the rest of this year, and I'm not trying to wait until the new year to have goals and resolutions and things like that, because I am a very goal-oriented person, and I am a to-do list kind of person, and I just thrive on that kind of lifestyle. So I do have projects of my own out of this list that I'm working on, and some of those things are working on my party pieces, and I think I've mentioned that before, and learning like the Carmen arias and musical theater and things like that. So that is something that I'm working on, and by the end of 2020 I will have that set list and have that ready to go. So another thing that I'm working on is watching the shows that I haven't seen. I also mentioned this earlier in the video and will be part of next week's video. I am learning French and Italian right now, and so I'm leaning further into French because that's what I've been working on really starting in April, May, June sort of thing. That's the language I've been diving into the most, and I'm going to continue that because I'm just on more of a roll with that, you know? And then I'm kind of starting the basics of Italian and just kind of laying that foundation work because 2021 I will be diving into Italian. So that's just my personal goals with that. And then, like I said earlier, I am also going to look at a role study, and I just need to talk with my teachers about what we think is best. I'm personally leaning towards Donizetti because I just don't know a lot about bel canto, and I think it's a great time with where the things that I'm working on vocally, that it's going to be a good time to just kind of work on that stuff, even though some of this music is really hard. And there's like so many high notes in, I think it's the duet. I think it's her duet, where she just has so many high notes in a row, and I was like, ah! But, you know, we're gonna try it out. But, you know, I'll keep you guys updated because I think I'm going to do like a role study with me or something like that, or learn a role with me and maybe take you guys through that. So, we will see. We will see how that goes. Eventually I will be learning all of these, for sure. But I'm just trying to decide on which one I want to learn next. I have this weird fear of commitment with role studies because in my head I'm like, well, I don't know if I'm going to sing that role ever again, or if I'm actually going to sing that role on stage, and I want my time. I appreciate when my time is used efficiently, and you know, if I'm putting all this time and effort into a role, then I want that payoff of like singing it later. But I just need to stop thinking that way because there are so many things to learn in a role study that, you know, you'll benefit from, even if you don't sing that role on stage. Like I don't know if I'm ever gonna sing Carmen on stage. I sit just a touch higher than she sits, but you know, the rest of her music feels great. So there's so much to learn from that. So, you know, who knows? So, yeah, so those are the things I'm working on. I think I also mentioned earlier that I'm just kind of singing those art songs that I've always wanted to sing. Those are the things that I'm working on for now. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. If you are still here, please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Hit the notification bell because when you hit that bell, then you'll be notified that I just posted a video, and I post every Friday. And I have more videos coming that are about the artist life, the world of opera, the young artist life specifically, and just more videos like these that are just like motivating and hopefully give you ideas to get something started and to not feel like you're just kind of waiting for things to happen, because if you're just waiting for things to happen, they're not going to happen. You have to make it happen. No one is handing this career to you. You are responsible for it. You are your own boss, and I believe in you. So if you need encouragement, put something in the comments below, and I will encourage your face off even if I don't know you. So have a great day, and thanks again for watching this video.